with that, we go to the Court Packing episode 2022. So every year, before the Audioface Awards, we do the Court Packing episode, which is when we pick our favorite albums of the year that we didn't get a chance to fully review on Audioface, or maybe only talked about briefly. This is our chance to shout them out, mention them, and basically qualify them for the Audioface Awards, because once that award show starts, you can't add anything new to the list.
And we have added something like literally the second before we recorded.
We added something to the cold open one year just so we could qualify it. So listen, rules is rules, man. But yeah, here we go. I have some of the ones written on here, and that'll give like I'd love if you could go into some of the ones that are written on here, since you said that these are some of the ones that you liked anyways.
Yeah.
Like the ones that are written on top here, and then I will fill in the Audience Face Awards, and then we can talk about that a little bit afterwards.
Yeah. So, who got you to write those ones down? By the way,
so it was a mix of me. It was a mix of Ghost producer Kyle, who's also helped a lot on the back end of this year in general. Kyle. Yeah, a bonus episode with him will actually be releasing on the state of live music. So if you liked our conversation about live music, we're going to be talking about live music overall in 2022. And that's going to be a bonus episode that releases next week in our break week as we're wrapping out our listing for the Audioface Awards. So youtube.com/audiofacepod or audioface.show to get the YouTube or podcast versions of those respectively. Great conversations. But yeah, that's a mix of, me looking through, doing a little bit of note cheating, let's say, about some other like top lists that other publications have made. And I'm like, okay, I'm seeing this here and I respect it. So maybe let's add it. And then there are other things that Ghost producer Kyle added, or like, friends I've talked to, Strawpolled myself. Mm-hmm. And then some of those also make it into the Audience Face Awards, which is viewer's choice, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, it's a nice hodgepodge of sources to get into those. But yeah, let's go through some of our court packing picks.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about Spoon's Lucifer and the Sofa. I brought this up before at the beginning of the year because it came out February-ish, I would say. Because I remember I wanted to bring it up, but we had a lot of reviews, and it's just one of those where just never got to be mentioned onto it. Spoon is a band who's been together for a long time out of Austin, Texas, who make really good rock, really good alt rock. They have one of my favorite alternative rock songs ever made called Inside Out, which was released when we were in high school, I believe, or maybe college, I forget. But they've been around for a long time, and they've made some pretty good records. Their last one that they made, that was okay. But with Lucifer on the Sofa, they knocked an out of the damn park with Lucifer on the Sofa. It is such a good alt rock record.
It's my return to form of this year, honestly. Like one of my returns to form, because go ahead, finish your point.
I think this is their best work that they've ever done, which is crazy to say for a group who's been together for like 15, 20 years, right? That they now release just a perfect alternative rock record. And in 2022, a year that is strapped for it. So good.
Yeah. I want to let that marinate a little bit. That's why we have the court packing period and the lead up to the Audioface Awards to deliberate. But yeah, their first album came out, Telefono, in 96, so that album could be as old or, actually, it is older than you and younger than me by about a month. So it's a very, very old.
Shit.
They've been around for a while. Yeah. Wow. April 23rd, 1996.
Yeah.
So
it's in the middle of us.
They've been around for the minute in that great peak of alternative that I remember from my childhood. Gimme Fiction, Get Nice, Transference.
Mm-hmm.
I think of those records a lot, but I've seen Spoon live actually. Time in college at one of those. It was like a hodgepodge show where they had a couple artists come in. It was like Cage the Elephant and Spoon and a couple of others. It wasn't a bad show. Actually, no, it was a bad show. That was around the point where I was like, damn, Spoon has really been doing this for a while. And it was around, They Want My Soul and Hot Thoughts, in 2017, especially around they were touring. I was looking at that work and I was thinking, damn, they lack the energy that a lot of modern rock bands or rock acts have at this time of, this 2010s, and 2010s was rough in the streets for rock and alternative. So I understand you, but Cage the Elephant and a lot of other artists were just like Cage the Elephant that night, and just like other rock acts in general, Ye Olde Black Keys and older Arctic Monkeys, like we're able to bring it in that generation. So I was on Audioface, like full transparency, we have 3 albums to curate for people every single week that we think are most worth talking about. And when Spoon came out, I was like, listen, we're a new albums podcast. Spoon has been around for a while. Maybe this album's fine, but I've been burned too many times recently, and I'm ready to just kind of move on. Because you will have artists who just continue making music, and whether it's good or not, the name is still there, but it's not worth talking about the 20th Weezer album when you have like a new up-and-coming artist that may be worth spending 10 minutes of time reviewing that record. So that's the kind of decision we made there. Sometimes you get it wrong. That's why we have Court Packing. Yeah, Spoon, that album is phenomenal. I really loved Wild on there and Feels Alright. Those are really nice ones.
Fantastic track. Yeah, Feels Alright. It's really good. Even the opening track of Held is good. The whole record is just really, there's no skips. It plays out very well. It keeps you involved within the record. It keeps you wanting more in the way too. And just for a band who's been around for so long, it's great to see them still produce a very good record, and arguably one of their best, if not their best records that they've ever made. And for, again, a genre that has had its up and downs, and this year is really on the resurgence, it's one of those where it's just absolutely wanted to talk about that. It's a fantastic record. Go listen to it. If you're a Spoon fan, you love it and you already know about it. If you forgot about Spoon, or you just want a really good alt-rock record, and plenty people are like, alt-rock doesn't sound good now, this is your record for you.
Also, we have Cool It Down by Yeah Yeah Yeahs, which is...
I've been wanting to talk about this goddamn record all year.
Yeah, this came out in that awkward time after Labor Day where we were in the midst of recording our bonus episodes, and we were after a break after we had just done a bunch of episones. So, again, this is a busy year for us. We were going through it. We just didn't have the time to. We did do a new singles talk about Spinning Off the Edge of the World, which was the song with Perfume Genius. So, this would have qualified even if we didn't court pack it, but this was listed on a lot of folks' album of the year. Kyle really made a good case for it, and
I think it could. I think it could be album of the year as well. I think you could not. I think it could be nominated for it because even like spinning off the edge of the world, I want to nominate as like track, like song of the year as well, because it's one of as an opening track as well, not just as a single, but as an opening track. It sets up the whole record perfectly in the mood that it wants. And a group, just like Spoon, have been around for a long fucking time, and for them to really, come out all guns blazing, make a record that's 8 songs, 32 minutes long, so they know the times. They know, we need to make it short and concise to really get it out there, get it out to the masses. And they experiment. They make a lot of electronic choices within their production. Like, example, not just Spinning Off the Edge of the World, obviously, is at that, but Love Bomb and Wolf, tracks 2 and 3 respectively after that, have a lot of different electronic sounds to them and stuff, which is what I really like with alt rock and indie rock. Like, those are the things that I love to have, where you experiment and try to do things where, like, example, Wolf, that's the track you can hear. It's like, oh, that's yes, for sure. But you're like, oh, this is modern. This is a little different, a bit more experimental.
Fleas is hot right after that, Wolf. Yeah.
And Fleas, yeah. It's just... Yeah. As a record, it's fantastic. It's one of the best things that they've made in a long time, and it's just, Fleas is a really good fun track too, and it's just such a good record. I love it. I've listened to this record a lot. I hope, like, in the indie circles and alt circles that I've been listening to or not throughout the year, a lot of people have been saying the same thing. This is a fantastic record, and I agree with them. So listen to it. If you've forgot about the yes, which a lot of people have, check this record out. Spinning Off the Edge of the World is an amazing song. And example, like Perfume Genius, he released a record this year too, I believe, Ugly Season, which was a very, very experimental record from him that we did talk about and we reviewed. But to see that, him pop onto this track and really hone in on some of the things that he's been experimenting on and influence it too, and you can hear that, is amazing to see. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I agree too. I want to add "Big Time" by Angel Olsen. I saw it on a lot.
Yeah.
It came out in that June period where I was on vacation, and so we just
Mhm.
didn't get around to it. But when I made my Americana is like gonna have like its moment kind of thing, I think I was maybe a little bit too premature on that call, which like
I
Sean
think
even
you
said like
were.
early in the beginning. But I think tracks like or like records like Angel Olsen's Big Time and a couple other things that have come out this year help to back me up to say something is definitely happening with this genre and it's going to start to maybe not blow up but continue to blossom in the years coming to it because it's definitely like a fresher sound that's starting to become more accessible in a mainstream way for rock and alternative and indie, which need a little bit more mixing in the Kool-Aid right now, as all those sounds are starting to get a little bit stagnant here or there. But yeah, it was a really just artistic piece. I really enjoyed it.
Beautiful record. I'm not one for Americana, but I am a big Angel Olsen fan. She had that track with Sharon Van Eaton last year, like I used to, that I listened to a
Mm-hmm.
ton, even this year, that I thought was fantastic. But with Big Time, it's just a beautiful record. It plays through nice. It's just gets all of that you want in Americana, and her voice is fantastic. The opening track, All the Good Times, I've listened to a bit this year, and I think with how much like how long she's been in the industry and stuff, she's really proving herself to be one of the premier artists out there for Americana and this more folksy indie type that we're not too well. Sometimes we like, sometimes we don't, but she does it in a fantastic way. So Big Time is a really good record.
Yeah. Um, my or another court packing pick is going to be Ways Blood, who I had just found out from a previous guest on Audioface, Oliver, who's really just helps me find like all the different indie things. And then I started seeing this on a couple other lists too. And so I
I've
was like,
seen Waste Blood. Yep,
yeah,
that was
okay, I'm
another
gonna
one I
check
want
this
to
out. I'm
talk
gonna
about.
listen to this. Yeah, I love a lot of it. These are longer songs. These are a little more like this is true indie in its like old indiest form. Like these are longer, ambient, like pulling from a lot of different sounds kind of songs, but pulled together, it's just a really, really beautiful piece of work that's very one of a kind.
Yeah, well, like it's this is one of the records that I've heard a lot for Indian and like more like what's the record label Sub Pop, who they released or they partnered with Fleet Foxes for the first couple records. That's how I heard of Waste Blood. But the tracks are long; they take a long time to develop. But her voice is amazing. It reminds me a bit of like like mid to late 70s style of folk and indie that I think, but a modern interpretation of that some people try to make but they don't make it very well. And in Darkness Hearts Aglow, it's she just makes such a good singer songwriter record that I think needs to get more recognition.
Yeah. When I got this is one of those, oh thank God, I have chord packing because I can listen to this record and kind of get through into it and like actually sink my teeth into it because it's definitely one of those things where, like even if we reviewed it on a week to week basis, it'd be
It's
one
so
of
much
those albums
sound
that I'd
to
have to dig into and really kind of enjoy to appreciate all that's kind of being thrown at me. But damn is it
it.
I think. Also, this is like less of a core packing thing, but Don FM came out so early in the year, but we didn't like
I thought about adding Dawn FM to Pop Record of the Year or something along the lines of that because that came out like that was our first week back
yeah.
was Dawn FM, and this year was insane. Like that should be another one that we could start to nominate too for a couple things because I think as you know, Amnesiac to Kid A is Dawn FM to oh my god, what
After
am I
Hours.
blanking on? After Hours is it's such a good like continuation of the storytelling that The Weeknd is doing, and it really solidifies him as one of the premier artists of music, one of the standout pop artists that is just churning out fantastic records that I love, that I think are very well produced, very well made, that need to get talked about more. I think Dawn FM is something that we should like nominated for a couple of things. I think people should actually talk about a little bit more because I feel like it's almost getting forgotten because of how big the year has been in a way.
It was a big year. He came out in the beginning, and like The Weeknd has kind of become an afterthought's the wrong word, but a given is the right word I'm trying to think of. It's like, oh yeah, of course The Weeknd is selling out arenas and stadiums. I think people forget almost this year, but I'll never forget. We'll never forget on Audioface. He was about to be shortchanged at Coachella for Kanye West because Kanye West canceled out of Coachella. Yeah, that Kanye West. And they were going to replace him. And they did ultimately replace him. The Weeknd did some shows both weekends with Swedish House Mafia to tie out the thing on Sunday. Mm-hmm. But Coachella was about to pay The Weeknd less than Kanye West. So still, to this year, major people in the industry are devaluing The Weeknd to their detriment, to their peril, at their own risk. Because this is... Abel's on it. He's proven us wrong and turned us into fans.
Absolutely, and that's something that I love to see. I love being proven wrong, and now I can even have an appreciation for some of the earlier work that I didn't necessarily like from him. Now, you know what? It's not half bad.
Yeah. And really fast, just to round things out here, we have the Audioface Awards. So these are just our viewers and listeners picking their favorite albums of the year of what they listen to. We polled on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and all the different parts of social media, and we got some that we've talked about already that have been some favorites, such as Midnights by Taylor Swift, Renaissance by Beyonce, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar, but also two that I'm going to check out, of course, for COURTPACKIng. These two seem to be in the rap or hip-hop category-ish. So we have Black Radio 3 by Robert Glasper,